Are you scared in a couple of years you won't recognize Harlem?
Um, I mean, I'm not necessarily scared because I know it's the reality of it. It is going to be
Mm,
completely different. The people that live here won't live here because they can't. Like, me and my friends were just talking about it. Like, the rent is barely affordable. Like, it's and like when you make six figures and you're questioning how much your rent is and the like
mm-hmm,
how much like and if you could afford it or not,
mm-hmm.
that's crazy. Like that's crazy. And you don't live downtown. You don't live like Midtown or Soho in the Village, which is beyond,
Expensive.
yeah,
All
expensive.
ridiculous.
You live in Harlem, which is a slightly more reasonable than Brooklyn, but it's more expensive than a lot of areas in the Bronx.
I remember when I first came down here to see you, and
Hmm.
you told me how much your rent was, and I almost peed on myself.
You should hear what it is now.
And you were like, it's all relevant. You were like, I don't have a car, take the train, it's all relevant when you
Right.
come to the cost of living.
It's
And then
true.
I never left me. I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense.
I mean, it is true. There is certain relevancies to that, but now it's
Now,
not
it's not.
relevant. Like, it's not. No. It's
Um,
insane. After COVID, and it's just been insanity
the guy that I interviewed the other day, he's like, I'm thinking about I got to move just to make it worth it. You
to
know,
make it worth it.
if I'm going to spend this amount of money, I might as well give me a house somewhere that's nice upstate because the way that it is right now, it doesn't compute.
It's not. It doesn't make sense. I was on the internet, and I seen this apartment for rent in Houston for 15. It was for $1,500. It was upstairs, downstairs, townhouse, full windows, top to. I had to close it out. I just got so angry. I closed that
Um,
thing out so fast.
did you live in Houston?
I've never lived in
I'm
Houston,
gonna
no.
need you to go visit first. I'm gonna need you to go because if this little funky little heat bothering you, girl, bye.
No, it does get. I've been to Dallas before, and it gets hella hot.
Houston is
Oof.
for real. No, just go visit. I was gonna ask you, your mom.
Hmm.
How did your mom pass away?
She had pancreatic cancer.
How was it? Were you out here? Or were you with your mom when she passed away?
So I was so I was actually in New York visiting. At the time, I was in Chicago because got laid off from my job at the radio station in St. Louis.
Mm.
So a friend of mine was living in Chicago, so I went there while I was like, applying for whatever. And I had come to New York for some interviews, and she happened to be in New York at the same time, and she had a doctor's appointment while she was here because she wasn't feeling well. And she went to the doctor, and then that's when she found out, and then went back to Florida, and then had a second diagnosis and saw a doctor in Florida.
How long did she live past the diagnosis?
Not very long. It was from May to September.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah.
So they caught it too late.
By the time it was stage 3 already.
Really?
Hmm.
What were like her symptoms? Like how did?
If I remember, all I remember her saying is that she had a stomach pain for some time, if I remember correctly. And I don't know if I can't remember if it got worse, and that's why she specifically went to the doctor when she got here. I know she was always funny about the doctors in other places, or if she just waited till she was coming to New York to go. I don't remember exactly. But I remember, I think, like her talk about like a abdominal pain, some type of stomach pain.
Mm,
She started chemo. So once we found out, I moved to back to Jacksonville. So I moved to Jacksonville to help take care of her. My sisters were living in South Carolina, and my dad was working overseas. So I moved back to help her out, and she did chemo, and we probably did maybe 2 rounds of chemo. I can't remember. It wasn't very many, maybe 3, but I think that is too many.
mm.
And they was like, it's already spreading, so she had to stop already.
A lot of people say chemo is the thing that makes you sick. Do you think that it was chemo for her? Or you think she should have? It was the right thing to do.
Um, I think at that time was the right thing to do. I don't know if I would have known anything other than the chemo does make you sick though. It does. It the cancer is probably already breaking down your body, and the
Yeah.
chemo is probably doing a lot of breaking down your body too. You're putting radiation into a human body, so I could only imagine like what that. I don't know all the technicalities of how that does to the body,
Yeah.
but I think at that time it was the right thing to do and it was the best thing to do.
How'd you feel losing your mom at, you said 30, right?
I was 30. It was, for me, it was hard because her and I don't know if you remember, her and I always had a challenged relationship.
Yes, I
And,
remember that.
and so the irony is that this happens and I'm not working, and so it's me and her. So I'm at the house taking care of her and doing a lot of these things. And so to me, that was the blessing and the irony in it, is that we didn't have that time,
To heal.
right, to talk. I don't feel like anything was left like, oh, I regret. Like, no, like we definitely had that time to talk and to, we didn't necessarily hash a lot of things out, but we did talk a lot.
Right.
Yeah. And she even said, she was just like, who would have, it was so funny. She was laying on the bed. I had just helped her get in the bed. And she said, who would have thought my baby girl would have been the one here taking care of me?
Oh, Mechelle, you needed to hear that for the rest of your life, didn't you?
So,
I'm so glad you got to hear that.
yeah. I'm grateful for the time. And she was a dope lady. She had things, but she was pretty fucking dope.
I remember your word was challenge. You never spoke about it though. You were very stoic, but we all knew something was happening. And I remember one time you kind of looked like a slouched over kid.
I didn't know people noticed that, which is silly to say, but
Because you were a very happy person. You always had the biggest smile. You had the best legs, the biggest smile, and you had the most jokes. Like when Mechelle came around, it was happy time. And then I just remember seeing you one time and you were slouched. And then I don't know if it was the same day, but you told me that something was going on with your mom. You have troubles with your mom. And if I remember correctly, because my mind's not always right, you had to stay with somebody for a little while.
hmm
And I don't remember anything else about it.
yeah, I stay with Nyla.
So Nyla been your sister for a long time.
I'm very grateful for her and her mom, always.
Her mom was very sweet.
Yeah, Miss Teresa.
She was very nice, very sweet.
She gave me lunch money every day when we went to school, when she would take us, everything.
Nyla's home and her mom were very much so. I only hung with them for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
It's very come in and be a kid and relax.
Yeah. Yeah. Her mother wasn't like, yeah, she was. I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
Until you just mentioned it. Yeah, I almost forgot about that.
yeah. I just remember that time. You were always. I always enjoyed being around you. Even when we got older and I came to visit you,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's my buddy. Like, I was just always like when we hung out here, it's always like we pick up right where we left out off. I know
Mm-hmm.
that you're different, you know that I'm different, but we're still like, that's Mechelle.
Right. And I'm like, that's she good.
That's it. Oh, speaking of, remember my friend who came to visit with me? Um, she died.
Yeah.
She overdosed in the hospital.
I didn't know how she died. I knew she died, but I did not know how.
She had just gotten started. That was the thing that really got me.
Mm-hmm.
She had just gotten started, just got her place, just got her career, just got her man, just got it gone. Gone, gone, gone. It's so scary.
That's very scary, but it's also like a reminder, like this ain't permanent. This everyday life is not gonna come the next day. Always. So
And be careful. Be careful. You're not gonna be the first. You're not the first. You're not gonna be the last. There's gonna be more after you. Don't think you're be above it. Why didn't you ever get married and have kids?
Oh Lord, jeez. Um, it. I don't think it was a thing that I decided that I don't want to do it. It's just the right person for me just had not come along, or the
Right.
person I thought was right wasn't right. And then since then, the right person for me has not come along.
Do you regret it?
I don't regret anything. I try to just, learn from it, but I definitely would have wanted children.
Oh,
That is something that I had always wanted, but I realize the reality of it now. I definitely believe that I can still get married. Um, I ain't spring chicken, but I got a little something going on.
they make old women feel bad. Like older women feel bad. And the truth is, no, don't.
It literally
There
do.
are
It's
men out here who
hilarious.
love us just as we are. Like, kill that noise.
Yeah. So for me, I think that's has been it. The person that I thought was for me just wasn't for me, and so I didn't want to have, and I don't judge anyone else whose situation is like that, but I wanted to have a family, like a husband, myself, a child,
Yeah.
and so I didn't want to just be single with a child. And so that was important for me.
I never had that motherly bug.
Mm.
I saw babies and was like, come back when you're 4.
Not come back when you're
My
4.
age was 4. Because then they can start talking back. And they can
This
start
is
talking
true.
trash to you. Be quiet.
You can
Like, you
tell me
be
what you
quiet,
want.
auntie.
Now you be quiet, auntie.
Yeah.
That's be Landy kids probably talking to you.
And I'm like, what? Go give me something to eat. Go fix me a plate. Your mom won't let me back in here. If you had to leave New York, where would you go?
Ugh, I've been thinking about that. I don't know, cause Texas and Florida make it real hard.
Ugh.
To maybe one of the Carolinas. The top location has been like either Maryland area or North Carolina.
Yeah. My father lives in North Carolina.
Oh, does he?
And Charlotte is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte is nice. Maryland is nice. Maryland doesn't get enough credit.
I'm sorry it's so hot while you're here, girl, because this is not. This is
And the sad part is only going to get worse.
right.
It's going to get to a point, Mechelle, where we can't sit outside and have this conversation.
That's insane.